M. Dressler is the author of 6 novels, including the award-winning The Last Ghost series. Her stories have appeared in the Kenyon Review, Lit Hub, Creative Nonfiction, and the Massachusetts Review. And her honors include fellowships from Fulbright, the Carson McCullers Center, Hedgebrook, and Paisano. She lives and writes in Oregon and southern Utah. Look forward to hearing what you have.
Thank you so much. Oh my goodness, can everyone hear me all right? Yeah, wonderful. Thank you guys. Thank you so much to our wonderful hosts and to my sister writers. What a joy to be with you today. So yes, I'm going to read from the 3rd book in the Last Ghost series, Our Eyes at Night. The Last Ghost series is entirely narrated by a ghost named Emma Rose Finnis, who died in the early 1900s. She drowns. And I'm not giving anything away there. We know that from the very first page of the very first book. And what we learn is that during her short life, she died when she was 19. She was constantly relegated to the shadows and to the margins. She is female. She is poor, working class. She is a domestic servant. She is a housemaid. And she is an immigrant. And so throughout her life, she is very much invisible. When she drowns, she sinks to the bottom of the ocean, but miraculously finds that she is rising as a ghost, and she's able to set foot on land. And at that moment, she learns that even though she has arisen from the dead, she will still have to be in the shadows, invisible, in the margins, because in the strange world that I have created for her, there are what are called ghost cleaners. And these cleaners live to eradicate the dead, to eradicate spirits whom they believe to be a burden upon us, the living. Emma, however, refuses to go gently into that good night. She refuses really to enact all of the common tropes that we associate with ghosts. She refuses to feel invisible. The more we follow her journey, she refuses to be invisible. She refuses to enact the solitary ghost thing. You know, she finds allies, she finds friends, she finds others like her. And the main thing that she does as we go through the series is that she does the one thing that ghosts aren't supposed to do, which is she continues to learn and to grow, right? Ghosts aren't supposed to change. They're supposed to be static once they're dead. And she continues to move, right? Ghosts are often tied to a place. She refuses to do that. As Our Eyes at Night opens, she is with a band of ghosts crossing. She has left the Pacific coast where she died, crossed over the mountains of the Sierra Nevada, and is now heading down into the desert southwest, the canyon country of southern Utah. And I'm delighted to let you hear a little bit of her voice in Our Eyes at Night. I've been a ghost long enough to know death is no less surprising than life. Surprised I was when I was dragged to the bottom of the sea and drowned more than a century ago. Surprised because I thought the wild Pacific coast was my home. I was wrong. Surprised I was because I thought the sea would be my friend until it set its heavy boots upon my shoulders. Astonished I was when, after I drowned, I discovered I wasn't yet over. I found I could crawl out of the sunlit waves onto the sand, and with my red ribbon still in my hair and my long black skirt now strangely dry, and still wearing underneath my shirtwaist the slip of my soul, I stood and greeted the day. I found I could walk and look around, and having gone as far west, it seems, as any poor Irish servant in America can go, I was facing east. You begin an afterlife by keeping mum. That is how a ghost best survives. Anger, words, strong emotion of any kind you learn gives the ghost away. So you stay cold and you let yourself feel nothing, for if you do, you are finished. If you can agree to do that, to remain invisible, then you'll last in the shadows and sun for one more day. Until one day you ask yourself, how is this any different really than how they expected me to live? What's the point of an afterlife after all, if you don't do anything fresh with it? It was a smattering of us now, school children and grown-ups, young and old, and in between, who made it out of the mountains and down onto the plains. The earth turned hard and white with salt in places. Some of us already knew what a desert was, having crossed it before, but I'd never seen the like of it, so barren yet beautiful a place. The gnarled, half-leafless trees, the bones scattered, not only of once living things, but of machines and towns and fence posts and windmills fallen on their backs, of riverbeds dried and the earth rumpled into heaps. Sometimes the view was as bare as the logged hills of my childhood, at other times stubbled with spiny bushes that would have pricked and hurt us if we felt things in the ordinary way, instead of with our sight, the sense we ghosts are left to feel and shape and stroke the remembered world with. We settled onto the dry ground and walked on as the more open and strange it became, this land streaked with bright colors under a white blue sky, while the sun poured down, surely hot, even if the heat didn't trouble us, and so wide it spread flat on the ground like an egg cracked open. Underneath my skirt and boots, the crust of the earth held what looked like tiny, hardy mosses in its grasp. There are living things here, I thought, but they're low and careful like us, and not so many living people. But luck. A desert is a place where a band of ghosts can walk for mile upon mile and let ourselves be visible in our happiness and joy without fear of being seen, and stretch our souls and limbs and hearts and marvel, while the children chase after tumbling weeds, their schoolmaster minding them, no, don't get too far ahead, while the loving couple that joined us at the last ravine, crawling out of their rusted car accident, hold hands and sigh with pleasure. And the blackbirds follow us all at a distance, high and circling, confused that we don't drop down in our tracks and make a tasty meal for them. We grew easy, all of us together, as time passed and we walked, because there was no one to threaten us as we allowed ourselves to see and feel and show our bodies and shapes freely to each other. And I suppose it was also because we have, none of the quarrels the living do. There's no worry to be had over food or water or rest or whose bank is the largest. None of us has any more sun on our plate than any other. None of us is stronger or weaker, of more or less value. We are all dead. We can all walk day and night and never grow tired. The sun and wind and the whirling dust devils move through us, and we're neither scratched nor scarred, or at least no more than we had been before. I often walked at the head of our little band, studying and thinking. The desert, it's a world that's hard for the living, but it's perfect for us, I've decided, a great adventure. And perhaps when the living have drained the whole world dry, which some say they are bound to do in the end, it is we, the dead, who'll inherit it, being better suited to the climate, as it were. I can't say precisely when we began to feel restless. But I've learned to see and read the souls around me as best I can, and in most ways I carry the burden of being the leader of this band, as I have been since the mountains. So at one high noon, I looked back and asked the others if they felt it was time we stopped and haunted for a spell. They all nodded eagerly. Haunting is lingering to enjoy a place. Haunting is also to leave a mark, so you know you haven't vanished. Thank you, and I'm doing a giveaway too as well. Hope you'll take a chance and join.